and welcome back. Today we are finally planting out our cool hardy annuals. They have been hardening off since Monday. Today is now Saturday, and it is finally time to get them in the ground so they can establish and hopefully overwinter. And hi, if you're new here, my name is Kristy. I am located in Western Massachusetts, Zone 6A, and this is my first time planting out cool hardy annuals for my cut flower garden. I have been selling flower bouquets at a roadside stand, and this is just a nice little bit to get ready for the spring because I missed out this whole spring with my cut flowers as I was trying to get everything ready to go. So I did this past week, since I have 2 weeks off from teaching, which has been so nice, let me tell you, is I used some extra cedar picket fences and I created 5 beds, and this will just be for my cool hardy annuals. That way they have their own little section off to the side, as my summer annuals are right now using all of my tilled beds. And definitely check out that video. I show you how I just put a simple bed together. I just used, again, cedar picket fencing that I had left over from my vegetable garden and some pressure treated wood. And if I can do it, then you definitely can do it. So what I have been doing this morning is I started with my Snapdragons, and Sweet Williams have already been planted. And I'm trying to get all of my cool hardy annuals in so they have time to establish roots. Now, if you don't know what a cool hardy annual is, I definitely recommend looking into it. It is going to be an annual that can withstand the temperatures of your winter. So here in Massachusetts, we get snow, sleet, freezing rain, wind, we get it all. And sometimes we might have a more mild winter where we don't really get too much snow. This past winter, we had a lot of snow. It was cold up until even the beginning of June. I was wearing my light winter jacket. So I needed to find annuals that could withstand how cold it is here. So that's like Rebecca, Sweet Williams, I have Snapdragons, Feverfew, Bupleurum, I'm gonna be direct sowing, and bachelor buttons is what I am focusing on. I have a few of my Rebecca over in my summer annual patch because I didn't have enough room right here when I was spacing everything out, but that's totally fine. So we're hoping that those will just survive because I am not going to be putting any kind of frost cloth on them. I am basically leaving them out to the elements. I'm not going to be babying them. I just don't have it in my budget right now to invest in some frost cloth and hoops and stuff. So we'll see how they go. I also tend to overseed, and my thought process behind this was if I overseed and a few of them don't make it, maybe a couple of them will. I did about 3 to 4 seeds per cell, and then most of them actually germinated. Some actually probably had like 5 or 6, but they're super small, so I'm not sure if they'll make it. But I just really hope at least one of them will, especially with the Snapdragons. I really would love to get some Snapdragons for the spring. Now, I really highly suggest looking into the Cool Flower book by Lisa Mason Ziegler. It is amazing. In the back of the book, it literally just lays out all the different types of annuals and how hardy they go too. So a few things, definitely check out the video. I have a video talking about what a cool hardy annual is and basically how to count backwards so you know when to seed start. So if you are in my zone, you could actually still direct sow some things like bachelor buttons and Bupleurum. I plan on direct sowing today, but you need to count out. They need at least 4 to 6 weeks from your average first frost date, which here it can be anywhere from October 3rd to October 10th. So I just stuck with October 10th and I counted back 6 weeks, and that is when my transplant date is. So that would be today. And then I looked at the back of the seed packet and I started these anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks ago prior to that. So it's kind of like, as long as you know when your average first frost date, which is super important, you can go and check that out and do a Google search. You can go to the Almanac website and it will be able to tell you that as well. And then just do some counting back. So again, if you are in zone 6, we are a little bit more limited, zone 6 and 5, than some of our warmer climate friends in zones 7 and 8. I actually started straw flower by accident because I wrote down zone 6 when it's actually zone 8. So maybe I'll get some late fall blooms, but if not, it's just going to be a loss. But now I'll know for next year just to make sure I double or triple check. So again, cool hardy annuals, zone 6, everything will be going here. I really want some Bupleurum and Feverfew. I really need to stock up on some like line flowers and greenery and filler flowers for next year. So I even started some yarrow, even though that is a perennial. So we have been super busy this past week. So let's get planting. I'll show you how I planted out my Snapdragons, and I just finished those actually right now. And then I'll come back later when I am direct sowing some bachelor buttons and some Bupleurum. Hey everyone, so we're actually rewinding a little bit in a few days prior to planting all of our cool hardy annuals out, but I wanted to talk to you about hardening them off. This is a very important process that you cannot skip. Even if it's getting cooler out and you think, oh, they'll be fine, it's only in the 70s during the day and then it's in the 50s and 60s at night. Do not skip this step because you don't want to fry and basically maybe kill off all of those nice young seedlings that you have been babying over the past several weeks. So it is going to be the middle of August. It's the second to last week of August to be exact. So we just had a 90-degree day yesterday, but now looking at the temperature, again, it's also important to check out your 10-day forecast or even your 5 to 7 day forecast. And you want days that are either partly cloudy or a lot cooler. So lucky for me, this whole week, it's actually going to be in the 70s. Today, it's a high of 73 degrees. So I am going to be starting my hardening off process. I think I only have one day, maybe on Wednesday, where it looks like there might be some afternoon rain, but that's fine. I can always move everything into the greenhouse and it can get its morning outside time, so to speak. So what I generally like to do is usually I will harden them off early in the morning before it gets too warm. However, this morning in particular, it was about anywhere from 12 to 15 mile per hour winds. It was actually so windy that one of my sunflower stalks collapsed and fell down. So we did lose that, which I'm a little bit sad about. But anyways, I am going to be bringing them out right now. And I have a little spot that's up against my house where it will block it from the wind and it also will be in the shade. So I like to, my first day, leave it out anywhere from 3 to 5 hours and only in the shade. So then I will bring them back inside, but I'm thinking I'm just actually going to move mine into the greenhouse because I am battling fungus gnats right now and those are no joke. I didn't sterilize my homemade DIY potting soil with some hot boiling water. So I'm not sure if that's what brought the fungus gnats in, but because my room gets very humid, we don't have the air really running too much during the day. It is a perfect breeding ground for those fungus gnats, especially when the soil is damp. I have been putting a lot of those sticky traps, but it just seems like they're still filling up. So I might just move them on out, and I really need to get everything hardened off. Not only my cool hardy annuals, but also my perennials that I started. And then I did do some fall crops like stock, which I'm hoping I can harvest in about a month or so. So fingers crossed for that as well. So I'm going to start off with just a quick afternoon. It's going to be about 2 p.m. right now. So I'm going to leave them out from 2 to 7. Then I'll put them into the greenhouse. And then tomorrow I'll probably do the same thing, either early morning or mid-afternoon to the evening, as long as you keep extending it. So it just depends on the weather. Luckily, again, it's going to be in the 70s this week. So that's perfect for me. I will have them out. And then by the third day, I want them out for anywhere between 6 to 8 hours. And I'm very fortunate that I have these 2 weeks off from teaching before we start up again. And then on the 5th day is when I will have it out for a full day and it will be out all night long. Now, this might not matter because as much since it's going to be cooler and they'll be going into the greenhouse instead of me lugging everything back upstairs. But I will leave them out for a full 24 hours or 48 hours before planting them out. So today is Monday. I do plan on planting everything out by Saturday. So once everything is hardened off and all my soil and amendments are in, then we'll be planting them out and hopefully they will overwinter for us here in Zone 6A and I can get a nice spring harvest later in 2026 in early springs. And I'll try and take some little quick time lapses of me bringing them in and out throughout the week and just giving you a general idea of how long everything is outside for. So again, do not skip this process. It's very important, but definitely check your forecast so you're doing it in a good condition for your plants. I mentioned this is day 1. So it's around 2:30 right now in the afternoon. So I have everything in the shade. This spot I really like because it blocks the wind, except the wind has really calmed down since this morning. And then I have the rest behind my greenhouse right now, that's also getting the shade. Even though it's only 70 something degrees, it gets really hot on this deck. Sometimes I'll even put them under the umbrella, but I don't want it open the whole entire afternoon just in case if the wind picks up. But right now, these are not my cool hardy annuals, but I do have some stock, which I'm really hoping I can get some fall blooms. But let me show you what I have for cool hardy annuals. So bachelor's buttons is something that I probably will direct sow next time. Again, this is another reason why I really like these clear cell trays is look at these roots. They are extremely root bound, so I really need these to get out. They grew actually super fast. So I think from now on, I'm going to just do bachelor buttons as direct sowing. But now I have these beds built, so I'll have that for next year. So bachelor's buttons are looking great. I have, these are my canterbury bells, which is actually really funny. So as you can see, I killed a lot off. It was actually tucked in behind. My rack is really wide, and sometimes I forget about the ones that are in the back middle ones. So I killed a lot off, but it's really funny because I started a lot of canterbury bells inside this winter, and I neglected them, and I forgot to water them, and they were fine. These ones, for whatever reason, did not really like me neglecting them too much, so I have a few of those. I have a ton. This is going to be the Indian Summers mix, and I overseeded these, so we'll kind of tease those apart. I had just some bigger trays, and this was actually ones that I saved for my farm share last year. I'm hoping these will overwinter. I have a ton of yarrow. I have some Snapdragons back here, and I have 3 more of Snapdragons over there. Stock, again, lots of yarrow. The summer's berries ones, it's kind of spotty, but I'm happy with what I have. And then I have some straw flowers. So if you saw in my previous video, I accidentally wrote that straw flower was hardy to zone 6 when it's actually hardy to zone 8. But that's okay. I'm actually gonna plant these out in my rows, and maybe I might be able to get a few blooms from them for this fall, but if not, that's okay. I'm just gonna leave them, you know, maybe we'll have some luck, but I highly doubt. I think these are all gonna be a total loss, but that's okay. I do recommend straw flower if you want later blooms to do the winter sowing method. My winter sown straw flower looks beautiful. It's now mid-August, and I'm just starting to get my first blooms from the straw flower from winter sowing. So with that, I'll probably do some indoors for an earlier variety, and then do winter sowing because it doesn't take up room inside. I love winter sowing, so I'm going to be doing a lot of my cut flowers through that. I had good luck with zinnias. Cosmos did really good with winter sowing, and so did my straw flower. And celosia actually did really good. So my celosia that I did with my winter sowing milk jugs, those are just starting to bloom as well. So it's like a nice second succession. So I'll probably start some indoors and then do a lot more for the winter sowing for the rest of the summer into the fall. But everything is out right now. I'm going to leave it here until probably the kids go to bed, bring it into the greenhouse, and everything will be nice and warm. It's too hot in there right now. Right now it says it's 88 degrees and it's 73-ish degrees outside right now. So I only have one of the windows open, so maybe if I open the second one, it'll be a little bit better, but I'm just glad I'm home this week. So here is to day 1. All right, it is now day 2 of hardening them off. Again, don't judge the messy garage, but I will give you a little tip. Head to your local Walmart because they have all of their potting soil and peat moss. Everything that is in their yard is actually on sale. This Pro Mix is normally $20. I got it for $4.50, so I load it up. I'm gonna be using this for seed starting. It's great. I absolutely love Pro Mix. And then their peat moss is normally, I think, like 17 bucks, and I got that for $5 or $5 or $6. I can't remember what it was, but head to your local Walmart. I'm probably actually gonna go back tomorrow and see if they have some Miracle Grow. I like to use that for my winter sowing milk jugs. I didn't see a difference when I used the Pro Mix versus the Miracle Grow for winter sowing. So I'll probably just go, it was like $2 a bag, I think, for the smaller ones. And I think the larger bags were like $4 when they're normally, I think, $16 or $17. So check out your local Walmart. Anyways, back to this hardening off day 2. So I did not put anything in the greenhouse. I didn't realize it was getting so cold. It was down to 50 degrees last night. It's actually really cool right now. I think it's like 53 degrees. Today is August 19th. So this is day 2 of hardening off. It's nice and warm in here. So I don't know why I didn't do this like earlier in the spring, but it works perfectly. So I'm going to move these outside. It's going to be cooler this morning. These are now, instead of going in the shade for half the day, I will be putting them in the sun for the morning, and then they'll get afternoon shade. So they'll have time to cool off. Definitely make sure though, once you get them in the sun, that you are checking to make sure that they are not drying out, especially if it's warmer in your area. Again, today's supposed to be like 76, but in the morning, it's barely going to hit 70. So these will be moved out to the sun, and then they'll get afternoon shade, actually in that same exact spot I had them yesterday. I will bring them back in at night. However, tomorrow it was supposed to only rain in the afternoon. Now it looks like it's going to rain all day. So I probably will move them into the garage, and then at some point move them into the greenhouse tomorrow. I still want them to be outside. It might not have strong sun, but at least they're out there getting used to the elements. It's going to be cooler at night. I'll bring them back in. My game plan for Thursday, it's supposed to rain in the morning. Once it stops raining, I'll take them out of the greenhouse, put them on the deck where they will stay, and then I plan on letting them from Thursday to Friday stay out all night long, leave them all out Friday, and then plant them out on Saturday. So I hope. It just depends on if I can get all the dirt moved into my new location for them. So day 2, let's get them on out, and I will keep you updated tomorrow. Hello, we are now on day 3 of hardening them off. As you saw, I actually just put them into the greenhouse last night. I was just feeling super lazy, but that's okay because they look good right now. It says it's 63 degrees in here. It's about a 77% humidity inside. I got this nice little trusty thermostat right here, which I love, but they're inside my Costco greenhouse. I totally recommend getting one of these if you can afford it. It's just like super convenient. It's like I got the 8x10. It's just like a great fit. So I have my Snapdragons right here, and I came out because I also need to check and see if I need to water them, but they still seem pretty damp. I have like 1 maybe or 2 randomly that do need to be watered, but they are just gonna stay in here because it is raining. It was a very light rain this morning, and then it started to pick up probably about a few hours ago. I do have one of the windows open though, just because I didn't want it to get too stuffy in here. But everything is looking really good. Then I do plan on tomorrow. It has changed the forecast. Thank you, New England. It was supposed to rain until about 11 a.m. but now it looks like it's in my favor, and it will stop raining like way earlier on, which is great. So once I get up in the morning with the kids, I'll probably put everything back on the deck. So that will be for Thursday. So again, we started Monday. They were outside for half of the day. Tuesday, they were outside for about 8 to 10 hours. I did a really big jump. It was just so nice and cool. Sometimes I really push the limits, and I don't even follow my own advice, but I will not plant them out after 2 days. I always wait at least 4 to 5 days. Definitely depends on the temperature. And I have just been really fortunate this week that it hasn't been too hot since Sunday. So today is Wednesday. They're stuck inside all day here, but that's fine. They're still at least out. I'm going to just leave them out here because it's going to be probably in like the mid 60s, I want to say, at night. Which, again, cool hardy animals, they'll be fine. And then for Thursday, they will be outside on the deck. They'll get morning sun, afternoon shade. I will leave them on the deck as long as my kids don't touch them. And then Friday, again, I'm going to leave them out all day, and then I will plant them out on Saturday. I don't want to jump the gun. I know I might have a chance, or I might just plant them out Friday. We will see. We are always outside with our kids, and so being stuck inside today has been such a bummer. But that is my little update. So they are nice and cozy, as you can see. Some of my winter stone milk jugs that I need to clean up, but this should be good, and hopefully we can plant them out momentarily. So again, don't skip this step, and I will check in with you Thursday when I bring them back out on the deck. Hello, it is happy day 4 of hardening them off. It is now Thursday, and the wind has died down. It's around 11 o'clock, so I'm going to take everything out of the greenhouse, put it on the deck where it will stay there for the whole entire day. It's going to be actually pretty overcast. I think the sun might pop out around 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's going to be in the low 70s. Again, another great day for hardening off. And then I probably will just leave everything out overnight. Everything looks pretty good. It got a little bit cool last night, but if it's going to dip into like the lower 50s, I might just move them in here, even though it'll be around the same temperature, but at least they're just hidden from any kind of wind. So yeah, let's just get everything moved out, and then I'm hoping either Friday I might at least do some direct sowing with my cool hardy annuals. I have Bupleurum that needs to get in the ground, and my bachelor buttons, and then the rest will either go out on Friday or Saturday depending on the weather. So let's get everything out. On day 4. I apologize if you hear the whole neighborhood mowing their lawn today, but it's just a gorgeous weekend. Again, we've been enjoying the much cooler mornings, so everyone is out working on their lawns, or like me, we are going to be planting while the kids are out at Costco, which is nice to not have any distraction. So my hopes is to have 2.5 beds of Snapdragons. My Feverfew might have to go over to my tilled area. I was hoping to not have too much over there, as I'm gonna make sure it's blocked off from when the kids have their sleds. I don't want anything ran over. And then I will have a whole bed, or at least half of a bed of Bupleurum, and then the other half Feverfew maybe. A whole entire bed of bachelor's buttons. And then Sweet Williams will probably be sharing a bed with the snaps, and I'm not sure what I'll do with the canterbury bells right now. That also can go over to my tilled area. So if I had to move anything, it'd probably be my canterbury bells, and probably my Feverfew will actually get moved over to another section if I don't have room. So I will start with my Snapdragons all the way closest to the fence, and then work my way back and see what I can get done before the kids get back. And we'll be almost wrapping up with a lot of our end of the year planting, which is so exciting because I feel like it's been go, go, go. So I'm very excited to catch like a little bit of a break and enjoy the last few weeks of the summertime. So let's get to it. All right, so now we're working on bachelor buttons. So I actually started some in some 6 cell packs, and they are extremely root bound, which is one reason why I really like having these clear cell packs, is because I can see if anything is root bound. Super duper root bound. I did 2 seeds per plug, so I only have 3 of those because I really wanted to be able to direct sow some as well. So I have 2 different kinds. I have a tall double mix from Burpee, which I had some left over. And then I have over 1,000 of the mixed bachelor buttons, and I got these from Seedville, USA. Someone on Etsy that I have been getting some seeds from. They had a sale, so I was like, figured why not? Because I don't want to invest quite yet on some good seeds. Like, I know I love Johnny's, don't get me wrong. Totally love Johnny's, but sometimes I want to try something where I can get smaller quantities for a little bit cheaper, just so I can see how they do. Since I am still learning, I kind of overthink things and feel like I'm just gonna automatically fail. I don't know if anyone else feels like that, but I know I do. So I'm hoping that with this process, if I do a good job, then next year I will invest in, like, say, Johnny seeds. Maybe I can get some from some other places. So if you have any favorite places, sometimes I'll get them from Botanical Interest, but we're gonna be using some good old Burpee and some Etsy sellers today. So I'm gonna start off with these, put them over here on my left, and then I will direct sow. It says to direct sow them 1/4 of an inch deep, so I will be doing that as well. And I'm just gonna do a couple little trenches, put them in, and then just lightly fill them in over. And we'll have this one down, and then it's Feverfew and Bupleurum, and then we'll be good to go. All right, now we are on to Bupleurum, and then I have my Feverfew, which I will do afterwards, but we're gonna start with the Bupleurum, and it says to only cover it 1/16 of an inch. So I am going to probably just make small trenches and lightly tap them in, just making sure they get good contact with the soil. I'd rather have a whole bed of this and move my Feverfew somewhere else than just to try and divide half and half, because I would love this for some greenery, and then I would love it for it to reseed and just be able to have this as a nice spot for my Bupleurum year after year. So we're gonna start with these, and then I will do the Feverfew, and then maybe it will be off to the side over here. You'll see it will be little plugs, and if not, we'll go over to another area. And yes, so we have another project done. So this was like a 3-step process between building the beds, filling the beds, seed starting everything, hardening it off, and planting. So like 5 different steps. So basically 5 steps to just have this one beautiful outcome. Hopefully we will find out in the spring. So if you would like to follow along and see if planting these cool hardy annuals actually works for me in my zone of 6A here in Western Massachusetts, please go ahead and click like and subscribe and hit that bell button. I really hope this is gonna work because it will just save me so much time, and I really want to have that early spring harvest. I wanna get in there for the early spring. Winter sowing is also something that I absolutely love. I'm gonna be using that more for cut flowers. Like, I know I just planted a ton of Feverfew. I feel like you just can't have enough. And what I noticed from winter sowing is that you get like a different succession of it, so you get a flush later on. So here is to getting the cool hardy annuals finally in. Maybe next year we can expand on that. I do have some room where I could possibly go ahead and make a few more beds, but it does dip into, unfortunately, the shade right now in the summer. So I'm not sure how they will do establishing their roots during the summertime because it is behind these humongous pine trees. But yeah, so until then, I will see you all next time, and happy gardening. Bye.